There is a part inside your furnace that costs $8. It is about the size of your finger, and it is the first thing in that whole machine that is going to fail. Not the blower, not the board, this little part. When it goes, and it will go, the company you call is going to charge you somewhere between $400 and $600 to swap it out. The swap takes 10 minutes. I am going to show you the whole thing today. What the part is, how to know for certain it is the problem, how to test it with a $9 meter, and how to put the new one in without breaking it. Because here is the thing they do not tell you. Half the new ones fail early because of one mistake people make with their fingers. Stay with me. This one pays for itself the first cold morning. Let me put a number on this first because I want you to understand what is actually at stake here. The average furnace repair call in this country right now runs between $300 and $600. Before anyone touches a screwdriver, there is a diagnostic fee. Most outfits charge between $89 and $150 just to walk in the door, and the part I am talking about today is behind something like 1 out of every 4 no-heat calls in the first 10 years of a furnace's life. So over the 20-year life of the machine, you are likely paying for this repair not once, but twice. That is over $1,000. For a part that costs less than a large pizza, and it fails on the coldest morning of the year, always, because that is the morning it works the hardest. Now, any tech who has spent 20 years in the field has replaced 1,000 of these. It is the most routine call there is. In the trade, they call it a 10-minute ticket. The part rides in every service van in America, right next to the coffee. And the honest techs will tell you the same thing I am telling you now. There is nothing about this job that requires a license, a permit, or a gas line wrench. You are not touching gas. You are not touching high voltage. You are unplugging one small connector and turning one screw. That is the whole job. So here is what we are going to do in 7 steps. 1. I will show you what the part is and how it works. 2. The exact symptoms, so you know it is this and not something else. 3. How to test it with a cheap meter so you are certain. That third one is the step everybody skips, and it is the one that separates a $10 fix from a wasted afternoon. 4. The replacement, start to finish. 5. The finger mistake that kills new ones early. 6. The other cheap part that gets misdiagnosed is this one. And 7. When to put the screwdriver down and actually make the call. Let's get into it. Step 1. What this part is. It is called a hot surface igniter. When your thermostat calls for heat, the furnace does not use a standing pilot light anymore. Those went away decades ago. Instead, electricity runs through this small ceramic element and heats it until it glows orange, like the coil on an old electric stove, around 1800 degrees. Once it is glowing, the gas valve opens, gas flows across that glowing tip, and the burners light. The igniter glows for maybe 30 seconds per cycle. That is its whole life. Glow, light the gas, rest. The older style is a flat fork shape made of silicon carbide, brittle as a potato chip. The newer style is a slim rod made of silicon nitride, tougher, lasts longer. Every time your furnace fires, this element heats from room temperature to 1800 degrees in seconds, then cools, then does it again. Thousands of cycles a winter. Ceramic can only take so many of those swings before a hairline crack opens, and a cracked igniter is a dead igniter. That is why it fails first. It lives the hardest life of any part in the cabinet. Step 2. The symptoms. Here's exactly what a failed igniter looks like from the hallway. The thermostat clicks. You hear the furnace start its sequence. A small motor whirs for about 30 seconds. That is the draft inducer, and it is normal. Then, nothing. No whoosh of burners lighting. Maybe a few minutes later, the blower runs anyway, and it is pushing cold air through the house. The furnace tries this 3, 4, 5 times, and then locks itself out. Now, go to the furnace and watch one attempt through the little sight glass with the lights off. In a healthy furnace, you will see an orange glow for 20 or 30 seconds before the flames come up. If you hear the inducer run and you never see that orange glow and then everything shuts down, that is your igniter 9 times out of 10. Many furnaces will also blink an error code at you through that same window. Count the flashes and check the legend printed inside the door panel. A code for ignition failure or ignition lockout points the same direction. Step 3. The test. Do not skip this. The meter is the difference between knowing and guessing. You need a basic multimeter, $9 to $15 at any hardware store, and it will serve you for every video I ever make. First, kill the power. There is a switch on or beside the furnace that looks like a light switch. Flip it off. If you cannot find it, flip the furnace breaker in the panel. Take the door off the cabinet. The igniter sits right at the burners, at the end of a short 2-wire lead with a small plug. Unplug that connector. It pulls apart. No tools. Set your meter to ohms, that is the horseshoe symbol, and touch one probe to each pin on the igniter side of the plug. Here is what the numbers mean. A flat fork-style igniter should read somewhere between 40 and 90 ohms. The slim rod style reads lower, roughly 10 to 25. If your meter reads OL or shows nothing at all, no matter how you hold the probes, that igniter is open, cracked inside, dead. That is your answer in black and white for $9. And while you are in there, look at the element itself. A visible crack, a blister, a white burn spot, any of those confirms it. Step 4. The replacement. Write down what is on the igniter or the furnace label, brand and model number, and buy either the exact part or a universal igniter kit. The exact part runs $8 to $25 online. A universal kit with mounting brackets runs about $15 to $20, and it covers most furnaces made in the last 30 years. Here's the job. Power off. Same switch as before. Confirm the furnace is cold. 1/4 inch screw holds the igniter bracket to the burner assembly. A nut driver or a small socket takes it out. Slide the old igniter out gently and take a photo of how it sat before you pull it free, so the new one goes back in the same position. Unplug the old connector. Now the new one. Hold it only by the white ceramic base or the bracket, never by the gray element. Set it in exactly the way the old one sat, with the tip near the burner but not touching any metal. Snug the screw. Snug, not gorilla tight. This is ceramic. Plug in the connector. Door back on. Most furnaces will not run with the door off. There is a safety switch under it. Power on. Walk to the thermostat, call for heat, and come back and watch through the glass. 30 seconds of orange glow, then flames across the burners. That sound is you keeping $500. Step 5. The finger mistake. This is the one that brings people back to the store in 2 months swearing the new part was junk. The old flat-style igniter, silicon carbide, is porous ceramic. If you grab the element with your bare fingers, the oil from your skin soaks into it. Next time it heats to 1800 degrees, that oil burns, and it burns a weak spot right into the ceramic. The igniter that should have lasted 5 to 7 winters cracks in one. Same reason you never touch a halogen headlight bulb with bare hands. So the rule is simple. The gray part of that igniter is glass. You do not touch it. You do not bump it against the cabinet. You do not set it down on the workbench face first. Handle it by the base, and if you do touch the element by accident, wipe it gently with rubbing alcohol on a clean cloth and let it dry before you fire it. And one more habit while we are here, a furnace that short cycles, kicking on and off constantly, is putting triple wear on the igniter. Short cycling usually traces back to a dirty filter choking the airflow and tripping the overheat limit. So the cheapest igniter insurance there is the $2 filter, changed every season. Starving the furnace of air is how $8 parts and $600 calls get manufactured. Step 6. The impostor. There is one other part in that cabinet that produces almost the same story. The furnace lights runs for 5 or 10 seconds and then shuts back down. Lights, then dies, over and over. If that is your pattern, the burners do light and then quit. Your igniter is fine. That is the flame sensor. It is an even simpler part, a thin metal rod that sits in the flame and tells the control board the fire is actually burning. Over the years, it grows a skin of oxide, the board stops trusting it, and it kills the gas as a precaution. And here's the part that ought to make you a little angry. The fix costs nothing. Power off, remove the one screw holding the sensor, pull it out and shine the rod with a fine abrasive pad or even a crisp dollar bill. No heavy sandpaper, and you are polishing, not grinding. Screw it back, and the furnace runs like new. This free fix gets billed as a service call every single day of every winter in this country. So learn the difference. Never glows and never lights, igniter. Lights and then dies, flame sensor. Those two symptoms and those two cheap fixies cover the majority of no heat mornings on a furnace under 15 years old. Step 7. When to make the call. I fix things for a living, and I will tell you straight. There are 3 situations where you close the door and pick up the phone. First, if you smell gas, rotten eggs, you do not troubleshoot that. Leave the house and call from the driveway. Second, if you replace the igniter, it tests good, and the furnace still will not light. Do not start throwing parts at it. Gas valves and control boards are real money, and diagnosing them is genuinely a trade skill. Third, if there is soot around the burner box, rust flakes raining down inside the cabinet, or water where water should not be, that furnace may have a bigger problem, and a cracked heat exchanger is not a maybe, it is a carbon monoxide risk. And on that subject, if your home does not have a carbon monoxide detector on every floor, that is a $20 purchase you make today before you buy the igniter. The point of everything I teach is not that you never call a pro. It is that when you do call one, you already know what the problem is, you know what the part costs, and nobody is selling you a $600 mystery. So let's put the numbers side by side. The service route, a $100 diagnostic, a $400 to $600 repair, and a day and a half of a cold house waiting on the schedule. Your route, a $9 meter you keep forever, a $15 igniter, and 20 minutes on a Saturday morning. Same furnace, same result. Roughly $500 difference. And that is one part on one machine in one room of your house. Every appliance you own has parts like this one. A part that costs almost nothing, fails first, and gets billed like it was made of silver. I have written all 94 of them into the manual. Every part, every price, every step laid out the same way I showed you today. The link is under this video. Next time, we are going to stay in that same furnace closet because there is a rod in your water heater costs about $12. And whether you replace it or ignore it decides if that tank lasts 6 years or 16. That is next. I will see you there.